So I have a question.
What is it?
Why is it so important for so many people to be diagnosed with a condition when the diagnosis offers no answers about the underlying problem of that condition?
That is a good question. For those who don't know us, I'm Dr. Morgan.
I'm Dr. Casey.
And so if you joined us on Monday, we provided you with a tool to help you determine if you likely have fibromyalgia and just better understand your symptoms a little bit more. If you haven't done it already, go back to our March 12th video and you can click on the link and that'll drive you to that initial questionnaire.
And if you watched yesterday's video, you'll remember that we differentiated between acute pain, chronic pain, and fibro pain. And we also discussed how there's not one single solution that's going to be the answer for every person that's suffering with fibromyalgia.
And when it comes to pain and symptoms, what symptoms really are is a signal from your body. Like imagine a flare gun or a red flag. Your body's telling you that there is an underlying problem. Now, symptoms are not necessarily always a bad thing because your body's giving you an opportunity to actually do something about it and get your health back rather than wait until it's too late.
Right. And so symptoms aren't the problem. They're a result of an underlying problem. And typically any health issue that we have in life, it didn't just happen like that. I mean, it took time to develop, but the last thing to show up is the symptom. And it seems like it's almost human nature that, we typically ignore that symptom at first. But if we let it go long enough, your body will eventually give you another symptom. And if you ignore that, your body will give you another symptom until you're ready to do something about it.
And this is really why a lot of people have many different symptoms, sometimes even a laundry list of aches and pains and symptoms. I know I had a patient come in the other day complaining of headaches, digestive problems, fatigue, and at one point in this person's life, they only had one of those symptoms. And eventually the second symptom came along, and then they developed the third symptom, but the one thing that all of the symptoms have in common is it's driving right back to this same underlying problem or condition.
Right. And if it does get bad enough, people then will decide, you know what, maybe I should do something about it. But unfortunately, the first thing that most people do is they try to mask and cover up the symptom with a medication. And that's the whole point. The medications are there to try and cover up and mask the symptoms, but it does nothing to fix the underlying problem. So the medications are an attempt to make you feel better, but it doesn't fix that underlying issue.
And a condition really is a label that medical doctors place on patients, oftentimes to just satisfy their need to have their problem validated, to understand that it is not all in your head, that it is real, and also just help this individual explain why they have these symptoms. But here's the thing, conditions are often just fancy words telling you what you already know, and it's not going to tell you what the underlying problem is. So just let's go through that again. Conditions are oftentimes fancy words to tell you what you already know.
Yeah, I think it's important that we take a step back sometimes and really just look at the language that we're using. And if we kind of just analyze and dissect the words, it's almost become silly. So I've actually given a few examples here behind me. These are 3 conditions that are commonly diagnosed every single day. A lot of people, especially watching this video, you'll be familiar with the condition of fibromyalgia. But if we dissect the word fibromyalgia, it starts with the part fibro, then there's my, and then algia. The fibro, it represents fibrous tissue. So tissue, the my represents muscle, and algia is another word for pain. So if we look at it, it's tissue and muscle pain. So you're at home, you got that symptom of widespread pain throughout your body, you feel it in your muscles, you feel it in your tissues, you go in and see the doctor, and they diagnose you with tissue and muscle pain.
That's frustrating.
Wow. They told you something you already know, and it doesn't really answer any of your questions. So it's frustrating, absolutely. Another condition is chronic fatigue. Chronic means long-standing, sometimes constant and ongoing. Fatigue is another word for tired. So you're at home, you're feeling tired all of the time, you go in and see the doctor, and they diagnose you with always tired syndrome.
Can I add, I'm going to add something in here. So now you've been given these fancy words to describe what you already know, the symptoms that you showed up with, but that's not telling you what the underlying problem or cause is. So how is it going to lead you in that direction?
Right. So that's the frustrating part of it. And then another condition you probably heard of is myofascial pain. So myo, again, represents muscle, fascial, tissue. Everyone knows pain. So you're at home, you're feeling the widespread pain in your muscles and your tissues, and you go in and see the doctor and they diagnose you with muscle and tissue pain syndrome. So it's not that helpful to be diagnosed with these labels. And I guess what's frustrating for me as a healthcare practitioner is I've too often seen people get labeled with these diagnoses, and then they become shackled to the diagnosis. That's where their focus then turns to. It turns to the actual diagnosis, when if you want to become healthy, your focus needs to be directed on true health.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so I hope by now you're starting to understand that having a label to describe the symptoms that you're experiencing isn't necessarily going to drive you to have the answer to the underlying cause or problem. So to think about it, medical doctors, in order for them to prescribe a medication, they need to give you a diagnosis. Now, their number one go-to treatment for any condition or symptom is typically medication. So then we are left wondering.
Yeah, I mean, if they have to give you a diagnosis to prescribe the medication, then who's really benefiting from the diagnosis? You, the patient, or the doctor? Well, I hope you find this video interesting. If you do, please like or heart and definitely share with people you care about. If you have questions, and I do see some of the questions and I will answer them on future videos, comment below anything you want to share. This is a community. This is about all of us supporting each other and all of us attaining that ultimate goal of regaining our health or becoming healthier than ever before. Please join us tomorrow. We're right back at it tomorrow. We're going to be talking about how stress can be causing your fibromyalgia symptoms.
It's going to be a great video.
Absolutely.
You're one step closer.